Hey guys, time for another flight recap. I mentioned this one in that last video that I did, like 3 or 4 videos back. I flew with Emirates 1120 Heavy, and I mentioned there was a second flight that didn't go as well. The second flight was actually with the F-14, which is this flight right here. If you watch my F-14 landings, you saw that I'm pretty good at landing the F-14 compared to the other fighters. That's why I chose the F-14 this time. Emirates 1120 Heavy had a friend of his with him, so there was 2 airliners. I was going to escort him in. I think we were going to Atlanta Airport. I don't know. We'll find out, but I think we were going to Atlanta. Pretty damn sure. Yeah, we were going to Atlanta. So they were coming in from down here, down south, and I was going to join them. This happened to be the closest runway. I would like to point out really quick that Emirates 1120 Heavy is the one who directed me to this runway and told me this was the closest runway to him. This runway is... let me see if I can find a way to show you guys. So we are right there. And if I zoom in here... Yeah, all the way in. And click on it. No. Okay, so if I zoom in, it won't let me click on it. Point is, this runway I think is... I showed you, there's a video, I put a video up of the F-16 taking off on this runway, and it was successful. The F-14 is not successful in this runway. The runway is approximately 300 feet long, so it's 100 yards. It's a very, very short runway. It's a grass strip, and an F-14 has no business taking off from this runway. But I was directed to this runway by Emirates 1120 Heavy, and, you know, I went with it. Why not? It was on live server, but all in all, you know, it is what it is. Let's get started real quick. And you can see I actually... Okay, too far. Why did that... There we go. Is it going to load? There we go. So you can see I actually looped around because where they started me out on the runway was not at the very, very end, and I knew I needed every bit of space I could get. So I did loop around, try to get back on the runway towards the back of it a little more. Not to mention I refueled because I knew it'd be a long flight and I knew I didn't have enough fuel. So you can see here I lined up right at the back of the runway, flaps down, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter one bit. And real quick, if I pause it, take it to the maps, you can see maybe he wasn't Emirates this time. Okay, he was Delta 1120 this time. So you can see Delta 1120 right there. And Delta 253 right there behind him, which was his friend. And then I came in behind them. So I'll let you guys see the failed takeoff. I tried. I really tried. Yeah, it's way past the end of the runway. And like you said, to be fair, I had to fully fuel up so I could get all the way to our destination. And even then it was close, which is what led to the next problem. So I climbed up to altitude. We'll fast forward through that a little bit. And right there's his buddy. We flew by him. Then I came up on Delta 1120. There's Delta 1120's buddy right there. I flew with him for a little bit. I switched over to Delta 1120 at some point here. I don't know where. There we go. So I switched over to Delta 1120, flew with him for a bit. Then as we got closer to approach at K Atlanta, I realized I was running out of fuel. And I'm making this video for a reason. I wasn't going to, because the video just ends because I got booted and got some violations. But like I said, I'm making this video for a reason. I do like infinite flight. It's very realistic with the flying stuff, at least for a cell phone flight simulator. You know, I mean, I've been waiting for a cell phone flight simulator like this for years, and none of the others really compare, in my opinion. There are a few others that are good, but I don't really think they're as accurate. Some of them are a little easier to use or a little better graphics, but in the end, I think this one's the most realistic. Especially with the live flights. But I've also noticed that ATC has a bit of a chip on their shoulder here, and when they created this game, you know, I mean, I understand, because I feel like a lot of people would abuse it if they had like a Mayday button for ATC, or, you know, a button to declare an emergency of any type. If they had something like that, I understand people would abuse it, because, you know, people get tired of waiting. I've flown where I had to do multiple go-rounds because people are being dickheads on the runway, not listening to ATC. That's usually on the training server, but still, I understand. You know, people would abuse it if there was some kind of Mayday or declaring an emergency button for ATC. However, as this flight showed, which I can't show you guys the fuel that I had. I don't know how to do that. If someone does, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I don't know how to show you guys what fuel I had left. But what happened was I ran low on fuel. And I understand also that it's my fault. You know, at the end of the day, it's my fault. I flew with a fighter. I knew the range would be close. I didn't realize how close it would be based on the speed that we were going. Remember, I joined them, so I went with their speeds and their altitudes and everything, which is part of what killed my fuel mileage, my fuel economy. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It is my fault. I chose to take an F-14 knowing that it'd be close. But still, for the realism factor, I feel like there was nothing wrong with me taking the F-14. And ATC right away, I felt, got kind of snippy with me. I mean, they were very demanding, and they were asking me to do something that just seemed very out of whack for the current situation. And I feel like it was because of fighter jet, because I've noticed that ATC on the expert server hates people flying fighter jets. Everywhere I go, like, I'll get really weird requests from ATC when I'm on the expert server if I'm flying in a fighter jet. So I just don't fly with a fighter jet anymore, because it's just too... I just got tired of the BS. I mean, it seems like they can do whatever basically they want. The pilots have no say in anything, and they kind of abuse that power. But here nor there, I mean, I can not fly a fighter jet, that's fine, but the situation that irritated me was, and I'm not too upset about it, I just wanted to point it out as a flaw for infinite flight, because the situation that irritated me was in this flight where I ran out of fuel. And I did not have the fuel to do what ATC wanted me to do. However, they wanted me to do it. And because of that, I ended up getting a violation. And it was for not
Stand by. November 386 Charlie Papa.
It was for not following instructions, which, I had no fuel. I had to get down on the ground. I should have been able to declare an emergency at that point, and I couldn't. And it didn't have to be on K Atlanta. I didn't have to land there. I could have landed anywhere, and I was willing to, but they insisted that I just keep doing circles, and I didn't have the fuel for that. And if I would have dropped out of the sky, I'd have got a violation for that too, because, once I ran out of fuel, I was going to lose altitude no matter what, and speed no matter what, and they wanted me to hold a specific altitude, specific heading, specific speed. And in a regular flight, I'd understand that. However, again...
Tango Hotel Sierra Tango, turn right heading 180, descend and maintain 3000. Turn right heading 180, descend and maintain 3000. Victor Tango Hotel Sierra Tango, November 386 Charlie Papa. Turn right heading 010 and hold over Jevin at 14,000. Right turns, do not exceed 230 knots.
So there you have it. They wanted me to turn right heading 010.
November 386 Charlie Papa. November 386 Charlie Papa, please follow instructions. Stand by. November 386 Charlie Papa, Atlanta approach, Delta 253, with you at 16,300.
So, they wanted me to turn right heading 010 and hold over Jevin at 14,000 feet. Right turns do not exceed 230 knots. Which all of that was fine, except eventually I was going to lose 14,000 feet because I had 2 or 3 minutes of fuel left when they booted me. And I decided I was going to just head to the nearest airport, which was right around this point. I just decided, back here where those pink lines are on the bottom there, you can see that's where this all started. So they had me doing it for a while, and just 10, 15 minutes. But I was already low on fuel to begin with, and like I said, eventually I decided I was going to go for the nearest runway, try to land. I was hoping they'd leave me alone. They didn't. They nailed me. It wasn't worth going in, because you can file a complaint and shit. It wasn't worth all that. But the point is, they need to have something integrated for that. Even if... Okay, well, they have a declare an emergency button or a mayday button, and then after you hit that, when your flight's over, you have to send something to them to prove that you had a legitimate reason to do that. I'd be cool with that. Take a screenshot like, hey, I was low on fuel, I had to do this. That's fine. But at least implement something so that people don't just get violated and lose their complete flight because ATC wants to be dicks. So that was what they wanted me to do, and then you can see what I did. And I tried to get their attention as much as I could. I said stand by. I didn't know what else to say. The only option they give you that's really realistic or helpful was stand by.
Delta 253, radar contact, say approach request. November 386 Charlie Papa, turn right heading 020 and hold over Jevin at 14,000. Right turns, do not exceed 230 knots. Victor Tango Hotel Sierra Tango, report airport in sight. Delta 253 is 14 nautical miles west of Baldwin Cove at 15,800 feet, requesting visual approach runway 27 right at Hartsfield. Turn right heading 020 and hold over Jevin at 14,000. Right turns, Wilco, November 386 Charlie Papa. Stand by, November 386 Charlie Papa. Delta 253, continue as filed. Expect the visual approach runway 27 left at Hartsfield. Wilco, Victor Tango Hotel Sierra Tango. Roger, Delta 253, airport in sight. Victor Tango Hotel Sierra Tango. Atlanta approach, November 386
and
Charlie
there you
Papa.
have it.
With you at 34,200. Victor Tango Hotel Sierra Tango. Cleared visual approach runway 26 right. Maintain current altitude until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS runway 26 right. Victor Tango Hotel Sierra Tango.
So there you have it. At the end you can see there I got a Violation for not following instructions. It is what it is. I just wish they'd implement something to make that a little more realistic. If you're having some kind of failure, which I understand that just the game itself, there are no failures. You have to have infinite passenger, and infinite passenger warns you that if you use it with the game while you're on live, you may get violations if you can't, do whatever they tell you. And I understand that. I still wish it could be implemented because it'd be more realistic. But without that being implemented, the one thing that you always have to worry about is fuel. And in live, you can't refuel in air. You can't go on the menu here and refuel in air. Like on single player, you can. You can just add fuel to your plane whenever you want to. On live, you can't do that. So unless you have a fueler in the air, you got to do something. And this isn't the first time they've held me up for a long period of time in the air. It just happens to be the first time that I actually ran out of fuel doing it. So it is what it is. But there's the recap for today. And I will see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.